Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Royalty Cut here, and in today's tutorial I'll be taking you through the process of how to cut and sew this beautiful Ankara shift dress that you see over here with a stylish neckline. If this video is a video you're interested in, please keep on watching to the end, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also turn on your notification bell to be notified whenever we post a new video. So basically for this tutorial, this is the materials I'll be working with. So I have 1 yard of crepe here for the neckline that we have at our thumbnail. So you can also go ahead and substitute this crepe for any kind of material if you want to do Ankara and Ankara, but make sure that it's going to be a different shade of Ankara so that the neckline will be visible. But if you still want it to be plain, you can just go ahead. So I'll be making use of this crepe here. I have 1 yard for the center, and I have this Ankara piece. I think I have about 2.5 yards, but if you're on a bigger size, I think you'll be needing more yards of this Ankara. And also I have this matching zipper for the back side, since this is a fitted shift dress. So this is the material I'll be working with. So let's get started with the drafting and cutting of this dress. So basically at this point, I went ahead to fold my fabric into two, just as you can see here. So it's folded into two. We'll be cutting the front piece of this dress first. So after folding it into two, I folded with my biggest round body measurement, which is my hip. My hip is my biggest round body measurement. My hip is 42 inches. I divided it into four, which is 10.5. And I went ahead to add extra 2 inch for sewing allowance. Now that 2 inch is optional. You can choose to do 1 inch or 1.5, depending on what you want to work with. So that is actually what I folded with. My round hip measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inches, and I have about 12.5 inches. So after that, I went ahead to get the full length of this dress that I'm working with, and I have 38 inches. Initially the full length is 37, so I added extra 1 inch for folding of the down part. So this is the piece that we are going to be working with for the front. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to get a line at this stage that will be serving as our shoulder line. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark this across. So after marking our shoulder line, we are going to go ahead and get our vertical measurement. So from the shoulder line, we'll be getting our chest line. So mine is 8 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark 8 inches at this point. We'll go ahead and get our bust point. My bust point is 10 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark 10 inches. We'll get our waistline. My waistline is 16.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 16.5 inches. Then we'll also go ahead and get our hip length. The hip length that I'm working with is 25 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark 25 inches all the way down. So at this point, we are done inputting our vertical measurement. So let's go ahead and get our shoulder to shoulder measurement. The shoulder to shoulder measurement that I'm working with is 16 inches. Go ahead and divide 16 inches into 2, which is 8 inches. So I'm going to come over to this shoulder line that I have here. I'm going to impute 8 inches at this point, and also impute 8 inches at our chest line, and connect the lines together. So after connecting the lines together, this is what we have. So for the neck width, I'll be working with the neck width of 3 inches. I'm going to mark 3 inches, and I'll be working with the depth of 2 inches. Now this 2 inches is because we are still going to remove this neckline for the front piece. So I'm just going to be using it as a guide for the back piece. So at the shoulder line, I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch for our shoulder slope, and I'll be connecting that 1 inch all the way down to our neck width this way. So after that, I'll go ahead and measure what I have at our shoulder here. I have 7 inches remaining. Divide 7 inches into 2. Mine is 3.5. At the point I marked 3.5, I would come in at this point by half of an inch. Now at the chest line, I'm going to be dividing my round bust measurement into 4. The round bust that I'm working with is 36. 36 into 4 is 9 inches. So at the chest line, I'm going to be imputing 9 inches at this point. So after that, I'm going to be connecting this half of an inch to this 1 inch line, and this half of an inch, they curvy way down to this 9 inch that we marked here. Just watch what I'm doing. So at this point, after getting our armhole cut, the next thing we are going to go ahead and do at this point is to re-impute what we have at our chest line at our bust point, since it was our bust point that we divided into 4 to get the measurement at the chest line. So I went ahead to re-impute it. So for me, I think I'll be adding 1.5 stitching allowance to this, not to make it so big. So I'm going to be adding 1.5. So after that, I'm going to be connecting these two lines together. So at the waistline, I'm going to be dividing my round waist measurement into 4. I'm working with the round waist of 32 inches. 32 inches divided by 4 is 8.25. So at the waistline, I'm going to go ahead and impute 8.25. plus 1.5 stitching allowance that I added to the upper body. Now, whichever stitching allowance you add to the upper body is the same stitching allowance you will be going with. So I'll come over to the hip line. I'm going to be dividing my round hip measurement into 4, and I'm working with a round hip of 42 inches. 42 inches divided by 4 is 10.5. So at the hip length, I'm going to go ahead and mark 10.5, and I'll also go ahead and add 1.5 stitching allowance. So I'm going to go ahead and connect from the waist area down to the hip length in a curvy way, just like you see me do over here. You wouldn't want your hip to be that straight. So after connecting it, I'm going to go ahead and measure what I have at this point. So at this point, including the allowance that I added to our round hip, I have 12 inches. So at the full length of this dress, I'm going to be subtracting 1 inch away from it. So at the full length, I'm going to be marking 11 inches. So from that point that I marked 11 inches, I'm going to be connecting from the hip all the way down to the full length of this dress. So at this point, after doing that, this is what we have. As you can see, our front dress is ready. So what I'm just going to go ahead and do is to cut this out. But before cutting it, I'm going to be leaving about half of an inch at the shoulder line for joining it together, just like you see me mark here. So I'm going to be cutting all the sides to be equal. After cutting this piece out, this is what we have here. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to fold our fabric into two again for us to cut our back piece. Now note that I'm going to be folding with the same inches that I folded for our front piece. So I'll be folding it, but I'll be adding extra 1 inch for the zipper. So if, for instance, I folded with 13 inches for this front piece, I'll be folding with 14 inches for the back piece. So basically at this point, I was not folding the fabric into two for the back piece, and I added 1 inch to the width of the folding. So the next thing we are going to go ahead and do right now is to mark 1 inch at any side, whether the folded side or the open edge. At the end of the day, it's still going to be slitted. So at this point, it does not really matter. It only matters when you're cutting your front piece. So at this point, I'm going to be marking 1 inch starting from the shoulder line all the way down to the full length of this gown. Was basically done imputing the 1 inch from the shoulder line all the way down to the full length, as you can see. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring in this our front piece that we have earlier, and I'm going to be placing the center part of our front piece at directly at the 1 inch line that we marked. I don't know if you can see. So this is what we have here. Now the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to cut out the sides and the neck area to be equal. Then we'll come over here and work on the zip contouring. So I'm going to be cutting from the neck area all the way down to the sides and also down to the full length of this dress that we are working with. Basically at this point, I'm done cutting this piece. So what I'm going to go ahead and do right now is to come over to our waistline, just like you see me do over here. I'm going to go ahead and extend the waistline and also the hip line this way. So at this point that I extended the waistline all the way into the zip allowance, I'm going to be dividing the zipper allowance into two, just like you see over here. So I have half of an inch and half of an inch on both sides. So this half of an inch line that I marked here, I'm going to be connecting it outward this way. Now this is to avoid any kind of zip bulging at the end of the day. So I connected it outward. Then coming down to the hip part, I'm going to be connecting this half of an inch to outward this way, making sure that it blends back into this line. So after that, this is what we have. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut out these new lines that we have here. After cutting that out, this is what we have here. Now the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to separate the back piece away from the front piece this way. So I've separated the back piece. This is the back piece. So I'm going to go ahead and place this aside for us to work on the front neckline. So before working on the front neckline, I'm just going to go ahead and join the shoulders of the back piece and the front piece together. I'm going to go ahead and open up the front piece this way because we'll be joining the shoulders right side facing each other. So I opened up the front piece and I'm going to be bringing each piece of the back piece to our front piece this way, making sure that the shoulders are aligning right side facing each other, just like you see me do over here. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for this other back piece. So after that, this is what we have. Now I'm going to go ahead and join the shoulders with half of an inch, the two shoulders. If you notice that there's a lot of space here because of the 1 inch zipper allowance that we added. So the neck is still going to be rough. There's no base for alarm. So I'm going to be adding, using half of an inch to join the shoulders area. And also I'll go ahead and use the 1.5-inch sewing allowance that I added to this dress. I don't know if you understand, to join the sides of this dress. Now if you add 1-inch allowance, sew with 1 inch. If you added 2-inch, sew with 2-inch allowance. But me, since I added to 1.5, I'm going to be sewing with 1.5 from the armhole all the way down to the full length of this dress. Finally, at this point, I was done joining the shoulders, as you can see over here. I also joined to the sides. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to the right side and bring our front piece upward this way. So this is our front piece. As you can see, it does not have any opening at the part. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the neck area of our front piece just this way. I'm going to go ahead and fold it into two, making sure that the two shoulders that we joined are aligning with each other this way. So this is the front neckline. Now I'm going to go ahead and arrange this over to the table, just like you see me do over here. Now be careful so as not to allow the back piece of your fabric to be under your folded edge. So I'm just going to go ahead and arrange this way, just like you see me do over here. Make sure that the neckline is straight because we wouldn't want any issue while cutting it out. So I've gotten the center part of my front piece. So this is the center part. And also while doing this, make sure that your shoulders are aligning here. So after that, I'm going to go ahead at this point that I have my neck width. I don't know if it is visible enough. At this point that I have my neck width, or at that point that I started joining my shoulder from, because that is where our neck width started from, I'm going to go ahead and slant in the line this way. I'm going to be using my check for it. So starting from that neck width that we have, or from where we started joining our shoulders, I'm going to go ahead and draw a line this way. Now you can go ahead and choose to measure yours. It is optional. So for me, I don't think measuring it is necessary. So from the neck width there, this is just the front piece. So from the neck width there, I just had to give it a little turn on. But if you want to use the same measurement for me, from the neck area, I have about 3 inch. Then starting from the chest line, I have 2.5 inches. So that is what I just marked all the way down. Now I'm going to be using my scissors to cut out the center part that we have all the way down to this neck area that we started from. After cutting this out, this is what we have here. I don't know if you can see, this is from the neck area. Now if you open this up, you will notice that both the front piece and the back piece are already slitted into two. I don't know if you understand. So let's just go ahead and place these pieces that we have here aside. So after placing it aside, as you can see, this is the two slitted parts. Now I'm going to go ahead and arrange this so that I can show you an easy way to identify your front piece and your back piece. Now, when looking at this, you will notice that there's a part that is longer than the other. So this upper part now that is shorter than this one underneath is the front part. Then this one below it that is wider is the back part. So this is the two piece, as you can see here. This is the two piece that we have here. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to get the measurement of the band that we are going to be cutting with. So I just need about just one piece of this to get our measurement. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is to measure from our full length from the front piece. I'm going to be measuring from the full length of the front piece. This is the full length. So I'm going to be measuring it all the way down to the back neckline. So I'm not going to be measuring the back length. So starting from the front piece this way, I'm going to measure it just like you see me do over here. So when I get to the shoulder that I joined the front piece and the back piece, I'm going to go ahead and measure only the back neckline. So measuring it, I have about 44 inches here in total. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is to cut a band of the length of 88 inches. That's 44 inches times 2 because we have two pieces here. Remember, I measured one, I got 44. So since we have two pieces here, we'll be working with 88. That is 44 for one piece and 44 for one piece. Now for the width of the band that we are going to be cutting, we are going to be needing this front neckline that we cut out earlier. So this is the front neckline that we had earlier. So we are going to go ahead and measure what we have here on fold. So I have about 3 inches on fold. So we are going to be cutting a band of 3 inches on fold and 88 inches of length. So basically at this point, I was done cutting out the black band that we are going to make use of. Now remember I told you that I'll be cutting with 88 inches because I measured 44. So this is on fold. As you can see, it's on fold, and I have 44 inches here. So I'm going to be measuring it from this closed edge that I folded it. So for you to see that it's up to 44 inches. So I have 44 inches here on the exact. And for the width of this, I have 7.5 inches. Now, why I added extra half of an inch, remember that the band that we cut out of the front piece was 3 inches on fold. So if you open it up, it's going to be 6 inches. So I had to add extra 1 inch, half of an inch on both sides for stitching it down to the main fabric. So this is what I have here. I have 7.5 inches. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is later on I'll trim off half of an inch for it to be 7 inches on the exact. So this is what we have here. Just like I said, it's on fold, is unfold. If you open it up and measure it this way, it's going to be up to 88 inches. So I'm still going to go ahead and fold it again to be equal, just like I did earlier while showing you that it was 44 inches. So after placing it on fold, just like you see me do over here, the next thing we are going to go ahead and do is to get our neck width for the front piece. Now you want to determine how wide you want your neck area to be. So just go ahead and measure your neck area just like I showed you here. So for me, after measuring mine, I think I will be going with 22 inches, sorry. So I think I'm working with 22 inches. But if you want yours to be lower or more, just go ahead and work with it. So we'll go ahead and divide the 22 inches into two. So I have 11 inches. So from this folded edge that you see over here, I'm going to place my tape rule at where I folded it. I'm going to be marking the 11 inches all the way down to this point. So this is the 11 inches we have for our neck width. I don't know if you can see it. So after that, the next thing we are going to go ahead and do is to determine where we want our slit to be stopping. Yes, this dress has a slit, although it's not visible. But if you don't want the slit part, just go ahead and skip it. So for the slit, I want the slit to be at least 4 inches away from the full length. So from the full length, let me just go up by 4 to 5 inches, depending on how open you want it to be. So let me go with 6 inches. Since I'm still going to be folding with 1 inch, so I'll be left with 5 inches. So I marked the slit, but if you don't want the slit part, just avoid this marking here. So after that, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to come over to this line we marked our neckline. I'm going to be dividing what I have here into two. Now, 7 inches divided by 2, as you know, is 3.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 3.5 inches all the way down to that point that I marked my slit line. So after marking the 3.5 inches, just like you see over here, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to go over to the sewing machine. I'm going to be starting my stitch from this point, from this neck area point. I'm going to be starting my stitch here. Then I'll stitch from this line that I marked here all the way down to this slit line, and I'll be stopping here. I don't know if you understand. My stitch will be from this line that I marked here straight to stop at this line that I marked here. This point I was not making this stitch, although it's not visible because I used black to black. So what I'm just going to go ahead and do right now is to take up this part and take up this part, and I'm going to go ahead and open it up this way. So as you can see, we have this point where our slit is at this down part, and we also have this point where we have our neck area. I don't know if you can see. Now the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to fold this equally. I'm going to be folding this equally this way. Now you want to open press it first before doing this, so as to get an accurate measurement. So I opened it up this way. The next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to slit open that center part. We're going to slit open it this way. I don't know if you can see. So I have slit opened it. Now that neck area is now open into two, and this point is our slit area. Now the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to place this aside and bring our pieces for me to show you how to attach it to your fabric. So remember that this is the pieces that we cut out earlier. So this is what we have here. This is the other piece. Remember, the shorter one on the width is our front piece, while the longer one below is our back piece. So I'm going to go ahead and arrange this over just like you see me do over here. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to bring over that black piece that we worked on earlier. Remember that this long slitted part is the neck area, not the short part for the slit. So take note of that. Now I'm going to go ahead and place this way. Now this our fabric is at the wrong side, so make sure yours is at the wrong side. This right side is visible because it's the back piece. So I'm going to go ahead and take each piece of this neck area this way. I'm going to attach this open edge, this part that is open, outward this way. So I'm going to be placing one piece on one piece of our fabric this way. So I'm just going to go ahead and pin this for it not to move. So I'll still take the open edge. I'm starting from the zipper area of the neck of our back. So I'm just going to go ahead and place it this way. After that, I'll also do that. Now I'm going to be doing this for this part that we have here, all the way down to our full length. At this point, after pinning it down all the way down, this is what we have for the other side. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring the other part too that we are working with. This other part at this side. I'm going to take this other piece of our neck area this way. I don't know if you can see. So I'll be doing the same thing I did for this other part this way. This open edge will be facing outward of our neck area for the other piece. Now I'm starting from the back neck area too. So I'll be placing this open edge outward this way. Make sure you pick the two bands so that it does not mingle. So I'm going to go ahead and pin it the same way I pinned the other one, all the way down to the front full length. At this point, after pinning it down, this is what I have. The dress is still at the wrong side. So this is what we'll have for the front piece. I don't know if it is visible. Now the back piece is still slitted. Now I'm going to go over to the sewing machine. I'm going to be starting from this other side. Just the way I pinned it from the neck to the full length, I'm going to be stitching these two sides. After stitching this side, I'll go over to this side and also stitch it the same way with half of an inch. So basically at this point, I was done attaching the band to the front piece, and this is what it is looking like. So let me just go ahead and arrange this. So if you look closely, this is the front center of our dress, and this is also the slit area of it. So the next thing we are going to go ahead and do right now is to attach our zipper to the back piece of this dress. So this is the back piece, just as you can see. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach a zipper, just the normal way you attach your zip. But I'll be starting from this band area. So I'm going to be using a 24-inch length of zip. I'll be starting from this upper part all the way down to my hip length. Then I'm going to use 1 inch to stitch the hip part all the way down to the full length of this dress. And I'll also go ahead and fold the full length of it. At this point, I'm done attaching the zipper to our dress, and this is what it is looking like. I also went ahead to fold the full length of this dress. So this is what the front part of it is looking like. So the next thing we are going to go ahead and work on right now is the sleeve for this dress. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold my fabric. So for the sleeve, I folded these two fabrics into two. They are on fold, just as you can see, and I have about two pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and place it equal because I want to be cutting both the right sleeve and the left sleeve together. So for the folding of your sleeve, you would like to go with your round armhole measurement. So mine is 16. I measured my round armhole. It was 16. So I divided it into two, which is 8 inches. So in that 8 inches, just go ahead and add the allowance you added while cutting your clothes. So for me, I added 1.5, and I'll be adding 1.5 to my round armhole measurement divided by 2, making it 9.5. So from this line, it will be serving as our starting line. I'm going to be imputing 9.5 inches. So I'm going to be imputing it this way. So after imputing 9.5 inches, that is what I actually folded with. I'm going to be getting my bust span measurement. That's your nipple to nipple measurement. Mine is 8 inches. 8 inches divided by 2 is 4. So vertically, I'm going to be marking the 4 inches this way. So after that, I'll also go ahead and divide these 4 inches that I marked here into 2 in a vertical way too. So after that, remember we marked 9.5 inches. Now I'll go ahead and divide this 9.5 inches into 2, and I have about 4.75. So from this center folded edge, I'm going to be marking 4.75 all the way down to the 4-inch line that we marked. I don't know if you can see. So that is it for it. Now from in a curvy way, I'm going to be covering from this folded edge you see here all the way down to this center part. Then in a curvy way downward all the way down to this point. I don't know if you can see. So I connected from this point to the center, from the center all the way down to the full length. Now, after that, we are going to be getting the full length of our sleeve. Now, remember that this is a short sleeve. So for me, I would like to do the length of 11 inches together with the folding. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 11 inches at this point. Go ahead and divide your sleeve, your round sleeve measurement. So for me, I divided mine. Now, while measuring it, just make sure that it is a little bit loose because you don't want to have a tight sleeve on you. So for me, after measuring mine, I had about 15 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and divide 15 inches into 2, and I have 7.5. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 7.5 here, and I'm going to be adding half of an inch seam allowance to it. So after that, I'm going to go ahead and connect from this point that I have here all the way down. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. So after cutting this out, our sleeve is ready. So what I'm just going to go ahead and do is to notch the two centers, just as you can see. So before attaching it to our fabric, our main dress, I'm going to be folding the sleeve area with about half of an inch. So I'm going to be folding it this way all the way down, and I'm going to be folding this one too. Then I'll go ahead and attach it the normal way we do attach our sleeve to our dress. So basically, after attaching our zipper to our dress and the sleeve that we added earlier, this is what our dress is looking like. As you can see, it's looking all beautiful and the rest. So basically, that will be the end of this tutorial. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also turn on your notification bell to be notified whenever we post a new video. See you in our next video. Bye.